Good morning.
Thanks for coming on the programme. Are you surprised that 7% of Manchester City fans would want to see their title stripped if they were found guilty of those financial breaches?
This is a Sky Bet survey you're talking about, and yeah, I'll be amazed if it was Man City supporters saying that. Totally amazed. I personally don't think they should be stripped of anything. I think it's a hard one to take. I think try and look at the bigger picture, what these people have done for that part of Manchester. They've created an absolute monster of a football club, but they have invested so heavily. They've changed the lives of people in that particular part of Manchester. I'm not sure you can punish them though, given that they have the deepest pockets of any team out there right now. So it's a difficult one. But I'm a football man, and would they be the only team that's pushed the envelope, that's pushed the boundaries? I'm not sure about that either. Difficult one.
I know you spent a bit of time in Bournemouth, Graeme, and you'd have seen a lot of the Cherries over the last few years. Would you make a 10% of their fans believing that if Pep Guardiola was in the dugout, they'd win the league?
Yeah, not a chance. Not a chance. I think not a chance. Listen, the most important thing you have to get right at a football club is recruitment. Man City have cracked it. They've got football people making football decisions, unlike at Chelsea, unlike Ed Woodward, unlike Mashiri, unlike Ellis Short at Sunderland, unlike the guy at Derby, Mel Morris. Football is a tough business, and right now, City they've got the whole infrastructure right, and that's why they're the strongest. They've got the best group of players. I said this in a column I write in the Daily Mail. Said this last season. I believe that Man City have the strongest group of players in the history of the English game. If you take, for me, three players, you take Haaland, De Bruyne, and the goalkeeper. Take them out of it. And whoever is being subbed after that, it's like for like in terms of quality. They've got outstanding quality and a very large squad. So I make them favourites again this year. And it's catch me if you can for the rest of them.
How do you think Liverpool are going to respond this season, bearing in mind Anfield apparently has the best atmosphere, but ultimately last season they fell well short?
That atmosphere is not new. I speak to players, we've been on Sky in the past. Players who are still playing, players who have just finished, and they all said the same thing. Liverpool, one of the toughest places to get a result, but certainly the best atmosphere. I think Liverpool's hopes are based on what midfield players they've got playing for them next year. I like McAllister. I think there's nothing to dislike about him. I think he's a workaholic. Is he 23 years old? He chips in with goals. He creates goals. Nothing to dislike about him. In fact, with that name, he really should be playing for Scotland, not Argentina. McAllister is as Scottish as it comes, but I think they needed to replace the midfield last year. A younger, more vibrant, more creative midfield, and I just think they've got a good enough goalkeeper, they've got a good enough back four, and they've got goals in the team. So for me, it's what midfield players they can recruit this year. The Hungarian boy. A lot of money. I know nothing about him, so I'll wait to see him before I pass judgment on him. But I think their midfield has needed strengthening for a good season now. And let's wait and see what. I don't think they're finished with buying midfield players. I think they'll have to go again for another midfield player.
Newcastle, the surprise package in some ways, I guess, last season in terms of securing Champions League football, reaching a cup final. How difficult do you think it would be for them to back it up again next season? Do you see them again being in and around the conversation when it comes to Champions League qualification?
Well, you've now got the expectation level at Newcastle. I think the players there and the manager and his staff were fantastic last year, not just in the results they got, but the manner of the type of football they played. I can remember early season going to Liverpool, losing it, maybe some of their own doing because of their time-wasting antics. But they went to Liverpool and said to Liverpool, who as we've talked about, a hard place to get a result. They went there and said, okay, we're going to take you on at your game, we're going to outgun you, we're going to outscore you, try to get on the front foot, stay there. And they did that throughout the season. And they were an absolute, pleasure to watch. But it's that expectation level that's now on them. They see Saint-Maximin, I think they're going to sell him. The boy Barnes coming in from Leicester, I like him. That would be an addition. Tonali, if that's how you say his name, he by all accounts had a really good game at Ibrox last night. Seen him playing for in Serie A. He looks to be a really good player. But I keep coming back to that word expectation. These players now have to deal with that expectation. They are now expected to be a top 4 team again next year. And that'll be tough on its own. Winning a trophy, they ain't going to win the league. I can't see them winning the league. But do well in the Champions League. Could easily win a League Cup or an FA Cup. But if they were to finish again in the Champions League, I would see that as another great season for them. And that won't be easy, because you've got to expect a stronger Liverpool this year. Man United will be stronger again, I think.
Well, 14% of Spurs fans thinks Mauricio Pochettino is still the best manager in the league. He's going to be at Chelsea next season. He's got a bit of recruitment to do before he can get them back on the straight and narrow. They've only got 2 central midfield players at this moment in time. What have you made of the upheaval at Chelsea? 12, 13 players leaving the club over the course of the summer. They brought in a huge number of players last year. It looks a squad that still needs some balance to it.
The number one thing you have to get right at a football club is recruitment. And I think if you're a Chelsea supporter, and I did say this at the time, so you get a new guy comes in. Now, whether they decide to go of their own volition or not, it was Buck, the chairman. Is it Marina, the lady that was involved?
Marina Gransky, yeah.
And Peter Cech. Those 3 would appear to have been doing the football side at Chelsea. So they go, the manager goes, and then you got the new owner saying he's now the new sporting director. And I made this comparison in the column I do in the Daily Mail. That was like saying to Fergie, go off to Los Angeles and work for the LA Dodgers, and start picking baseball players. It's just impossible. So they need more football people. I could only describe what's happened at Chelsea. It's turmoil, and it still appears to be turmoil. I don't know what direction they're going in. I'd be alarmed and concerned about the season in equal amounts if I was a Chelsea supporter. I don't see what direction they're going in.